Are you using GReminders profile section correctly? We know a lot of firms that just got onboarded with GReminders that are in the financial management and financial wealth management space that maybe aren't utilizing to its best capability. So in today's video, we're going to be showing you just a couple of examples on what our takes are and what we've seen work for other financial advisory firms out there. Hi, my name is Matthew. I've worked with over 50 different advisory firms with and while working at Advisor Tech Partners. We specialize in helping financial advisors who utilize Redtail, Wealthbox, and GReminders as their financial advisor software. We specialize in building out workflows, processes, and automations, as well as setting up your system. So in today's video, we'll be showing you how you can best utilize your GReminders, and especially with setting up the profiles. So let's get started. In our first area here, we'll go ahead and make sure that under our organization settings, we click on profiles. Now, good couple of suggestions here as to, wait, maybe I only have a couple of roles at my firm and I don't want to invest the time for setting up these profiles at this moment. Well, I'll stop you right there because this is the perfect time to start setting up those profiles, which essentially are those roles at your firm. The main three ones we always come across are lead advisors, associate advisors, and then we also have our client service associate. So we're going to stick with that as our basis here. So we're just imagining that our firm has three main roles, and we'll go ahead and start by creating these profiles. So in our first step, I'll go ahead and click on the green button, new profile. So we'll go ahead and click that, and then next we're going to want to name this as our advisor types. Now we can go ahead and start off with the lead advisor, and then we're going to want to make sure that we're setting up the permissions and the feature access. So we'll go ahead and make sure that we are getting client reminders, personal reminders, scheduling reminders, and then team ones as well. And then lastly, we're going to want to make sure that the specific role that you're setting up, your firm may be set up differently than ours, but we have an internal person, like a director of operations role, who manages all of the firm's scheduling. So we're going to not want to check off these other areas on the right-hand side because, again, advisors and the lead advisors role at our imaginary firm here shouldn't really be touching what events I need to create, how I should be scheduling. That's all being taken care of by our operations department. So we'll leave these boxes unchecked. Next, I'm going to want to identify what types of integrations I want to allow my firm and my firm users to have access to. So the first one is choose your preferred and choose the method in which you actually meet virtually with your client. So in our case, we use Zoom. So I'll go ahead and unselect the other options as they're not really relevant to us. And then in our case scenario, or in our specific case, let's say I use Wealthbox. So we'll go ahead and click on Wealthbox just to make sure that we have access. And actually we do some client intake data through PreciseFP. So go ahead, and if you have that enabled, you can go ahead and click on that box here. And then lastly here, under new user defaults, we'll make sure that this box is checked. Allowing calendar viewing via in-person means any administrators can log in through this specific person's role. So if we're creating a new person, new lead advisor, and we just created their profile, this will give an admin access to actually log into their own platform and then view what they're seeing on the lead advisor's profile. We'll go ahead, click that green save button, and then we're going to be selecting who we're assigning this role to. So if I wanted to assign this to Jeff or myself, I'll go ahead and assign it to those people. But in our case, we won't be assigning it to anyone as of yet. So once we created this lead advisor role, I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same things for our associate advisor. And then we're also going to be doing the same thing for our client service associate. So just like what we did with our lead advisor, I'm going to go ahead and select these options here. Again, making sure that we're not selecting this in our imaginary situation where the director of operations or operations team is handling the scheduling, so they shouldn't be having to create their own routing forms, their own reminder templates, event templates. This should all already be set up for the advisors taking those meetings. And then next, again, in our firm, we're using Zoom. So we'll go ahead and make sure that Zoom is selected. And then the CRM that we use is Wealthbox. And again, let's say we use PreciseFP. We'll click PreciseFP. And then we'll click on Save. And then again, we're not assigning this yet, just as of yet. So I'll click Save. And then our last profile that we're going to be creating is for those client service associates. So went ahead, just typed in client service associates. If you abbreviate them, you can abbreviate them as well. But again, going through the same steps, making sure that these boxes are checked. We're not checking off these areas. But hey, maybe your firm has a client service associate or associates that do manage these for the advisor. So let's say in our case, we do that. We'll go ahead and make sure that these options are selected. And then remembering that our virtual meeting platform is going to be Zoom. Our CRM is Wealthbox, and then we'll check PreciseFP if there is an integration that you need to set up when you're doing that client intake for that data. We'll click Save, and then we will save this here. So now that we have this set up, I'm going to show you what it looks like when we are creating and actually assigning those event types to those roles. So I'll go ahead under Management, click on Event Type Templates, and let's say that we want to start assigning this intro meeting link that we have for all advisors out there. Again, when you're prospecting, getting those leads into the door, you want to be able to have a process that all of your advisors can follow. So we went ahead and created this introductory meeting link here. And if I go in and let's say this is all good to go, we set this event up correctly, we are going to go ahead and under assignments, I want to assign this to an actual role. So let's say that lead advisors are the only people in our firm that are supposed to be having those intro meetings. I'll go ahead and assign it to those lead advisors themselves. Now, in a special situation, let's say that associate advisors are just on the brink of being a lead advisor and you're wanting them to bring in new business, we can also add them here to this assignment for the intro meetings. So once we assign that, they'll actually have access to those event types. So now when your advisors log in, they won't have access, and again, we're in the situation where we just assign the lead advisor this intro meeting link. They will see their scheduling page and they'll see their specific scheduling page over here on the left-hand side under their event types. Now, under their event types, they're going to be seeing, hey, like this is the intro meeting that I was just assigned. So that's how you set up profiles correctly. And again, assigning them to specific event types is appropriate because we're trying to make sure that only specific roles within our firm have access to specific event types. Meaning, again, your intro calls, any onboarding or prospecting meetings, and then especially those annual reviews, right? You don't want to blast out your calendar link where anyone can schedule, and let's say a client service associate has an annual review link. That doesn't make sense. So that's why we take this into consideration at the organizational settings under profiles within your GReminders. So again, just to recap here, we went ahead and created 3 different profiles and roles within our GReminders account. We created the lead advisor, the standard user, and then we also created the client service associates role. Next, we went ahead and we set up the lead advisors and the associate advisors with the correct event types that they should have access to. Now, we know that it's not just your intro meeting. You may want to create an annual review meeting link. You'll also want to add them to the assignment under that link as well. Now, once you have the lead advisor login, you'll want to make sure that they see their specific intro meeting link under their scheduling event types area. And I'll show you what that looks like again here. We see that the intro meeting is here. And then also, just as another tip, if you want to reorder how these specific event types are showing up, like let's say I utilize this 30 meeting link the most and I want to push it up. I'll go ahead and just drag and drop it, and then I'll click this save order. I hope you found this video extremely helpful and valuable. We work with a lot of financial advisors who have these similar issues and produce a lot of similar content like this that may be relevant to your financial advisory practice. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video here. We produce a lot of content just like this on our YouTube channel. So if you give us a like and subscribe, you can keep up to date with all of the new content that we'll be pushing out in the weeks to come. And also schedule with us on our intro meeting link down in the description. We'd be more than happy to talk about your firm's processes and challenges that you may be facing as you're growing and scaling.